Good morning. This is White Raptor News Ministries. I finally got my trifold in. Okay, I want to start getting these out to people. Okay, learn the truth. This is important for people who are the color skin of black, especially because it seems like a lot of black people get killed across this country. 1,000 every year get killed by cops, police every year. They're not loading up my videos again. They killed my last computer. I went and bought another computer. The other computer is not letting, this new computer I just bought, it's not loading up a video right now. It's been stuck at 60%. So now I'm on my phone and I'm uploading a video. It's not uploading the video that I did, chapters 22 of Numbers. So what I want to talk to you about today is if you're ever stopped by police, okay, it is imperative for your safety, okay? Cops are always talking about their safety and stuff. They're wearing guns, they got tasers, they got body gear on them, and they're looking at you like you're wielding a fucking weapon or pointing something in their face and telling them, oh, take your hands out of your pockets for our safety. You know, stop reaching. This is what they're trained in their classes to, so that when they shoot you, they can say, oh, well, I thought he was reaching for a gun, and then they're under qualified immunity, and then there's no price for it. So if you're ever stopped by law enforcement officers, okay, knowing your rights, your constitutional rights, right here, the very first amendment of the United States, I invoke the right to remain silent, all right? I don't answer questions. This is very important. Let's say that you're just a family on your way home. You're returning home from a family gathering, and even a funeral or whatever it is, man. And a chipmunk comes out into the road and sees you coming and then turns around and you swerve a little bit. You just kind of go out of the way a little bit and the cop sees you do that. And the next thing you know, you're being pulled over. Cop comes up and says, hey, you know why I pulled you over this evening? You don't answer the questions. I don't answer questions. No. Why? Why don't you answer a question? Because if a cop comes up and they ask you, hey, have you been speeding? Do you know what the speed limit is? Do you know how fast you're going? Okay. Number one, if you don't know how fast you're going, then the cop can write you up for anything that you want if you tell him that. Right? You can't go from, oh, well, I don't know how fast I was going, to, well, I wasn't going that fast. This is why it's so important for you to protect yourself, because when you're being asked questions, they're asking questions, they're investigating you. So you don't ever tell them that you don't know. No, I don't know how fast I was going. But at the same time, you don't tell them, yes, I know how fast I was going, when they ask you how fast they're going, because then they're going to ask you what speed you're going. And then if you tell them that you were going such speed over the speed limit, whether it be 5 miles an hour because or 3 miles an hour, then he can say to you that you were going over the speed limit, and he can write you up a ticket for a speeding ticket. Where if you just said, hey, I don't answer questions like that, I'm not going to incriminate myself, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Now get this. Give me 1 second here. Okay, let's pretend that this here is your visor, right? Your visor's up. You've been pulled over. Okay, you always have your registration, okay? Your registration, your license, and your insurance should all be nicely wrapped in one area so you're not reaching for this. Yes, your driver's license, I suggest people for your benefit that you get your driver's license and you put your driver's license with your stuff, and then get an identification card, and you carry your identification card for if you're happening to go out, if you're one that's going into the bars, or you're drinking, or you need identification to get on a base or anything like that. You have your driver's license and everything right there at the ready. Okay, so now your stuff's up here. You've been pulled over by the cop. Do you know why I pulled you over tonight, man? You're like, well, you reach up, you grab your stuff, you close it, you pull it out. Now, this is the way I have mine set up, just to give you a heads up. Okay. This has all kinds of law, case law on it for the benefit of you, the people who I want to send it to. Now, naturally, I can't send it to you for free, but if you want to send me an email with your home address, then I can get you one out. I'll be charging $3 for this. It costs me to mail it out. You can get it for $3 or you can get it for $5 to mail it out. For $3, it's going to cost, you know, I'm going to make a little bit of money, but as I'm going to be doing this as a business when I hit the streets and everything today, then naturally Uncle Sam's going to want his little piece of it, and all of it's got to be done legitimately. Okay, this isn't going to be my job, but it's going to be part of what I do when I hit the road and I start doing these police audits, because I am going to start holding the police accountable. When my father passes away, I'm going to travel the United States and I'm going to engage with law enforcement officers, and I am going to audit the officers, and I am going to see how they respond to somebody who's exercising their constitutional law, their Bill of Rights, and inserting those things and stress testing what's going on. So this is what you're going to be getting. This has all the case law on it. The case law has cops say threats. Chaplinsky versus NH 1942. The Scottish, words that incite violence, specifically words that instigate violence, stating you could or you would, are not fighting words. Warning, violence is imminent are fighting words. Okay. Also, you have revoke consent, which means when a cop comes up and they pulled you over and they say, do you mind? And they look around, do you mind if I search inside your vehicle? You can give consent to search the vehicle. Florida versus Gemino, 1991. I give consent and revoke consent. This is why you give consent, because by giving, see, the way cops operate is when you say, no, man, I'm not going to let you search my car. To them, in their world, that's probable cause. Well, why don't you want me to search your car? What are you doing? What are you hiding? So that's why you give consent to the cops. You step out of the car for the cops. Always bring your camera, record the interaction, stand to the side, and then the minute the cop gets inside of your car and starts fishing around through shit and stuff, say, you know what? On second thought, please, I revoke that consent. I gave you consent, now I'm revoking the consent. Now they can't say, well, it seemed suspicious to me. You allowed the cop to stick his nose inside of your car, which is also over here, which is cop smells marijuana, which is Commonwealth versus Barr, 2021. Odor is not probable cause. You need to start learning the law, okay? Any state that sells marijuana medically or recreationally, police cannot use odor or probable cause for search or seizure. The smell of weed does not magically create a probable cause standard. Do not consent to the search or seizure based on the copper saying he smells weed. Always film the police, okay? We're at an age today, folks, where you have to protect yourself. We got murderers out there on the streets, and you guys are yahooing and saying that the government, the American government, is the best government on the face of the earth, when we have millions of people that are starving in the streets. We have millions of people that are homeless. We have people telling us that we have to jack ourselves up with vaccines. We have people telling us that we have to obey what the World Health Organization is telling us. We've got people that are trying to enforce their laws, or force their rules, their regulations, and their policies on us. So you need to have this. Let me show you how mine's set up. Here's the card. Okay, so you've been stopped, you've been pulled over. The cops all of a sudden, the license, registration, and insurance. Okay, your license, your registration, and your insurance should all be nicely stapled right inside of here, so that when you hand this to the police officer, the first thing that you're doing to that cop is you're showing him straight up, I invoke my right to remain silent. Okay? That is the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. This is important for you to invoke your Fifth Amendment right, because if you just show this to him, then that's not invoking it. Okay? You have to verbally speak out the verbiage out of your mouth that I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent and not incriminate myself. When you invoke your Fifth Amendment right after you've invoked your Fifth Amendment right, you also invoke your Fourth Amendment right to not be searched or seized or pulled out of the car or made to blow into a tube or made to take a sobriety test or made to take a needle or made to draw blood or any of that. When you invoke these two amendments to the Constitution, you have literally taken your power back. Now, what's important to understand while you're doing all of this is that you must have your camera ready on the go. Okay? So, you're pulled over by the cops. What you're going to do when they come for you, you go to your camera mode, okay? You might even want to go live depending on how many cops are going to have come out, because believe me, you're going to be looking at anywhere from 5 to 11 cops, 5 different units all out there wasting taxpayers' dollars and stuff. So now you've gone to your phone app, okay, and you start recording. And then when you record, you look at your camera and you say that I have invoked my Fifth Amendment right to Officer Johnson here, because Johnson likes pulling on his Johnson. Officer Johnson here, I've invoked my Fifth Amendment right to Officer Johnson not to speak or answer his questions. I have given him a pamphlet by law. I have given Officer Johnson everything that is required of me by law, okay? And at that very moment, right then and there on the spot, you turn your camera on Officer Johnson and you say once again for the camera, if you ask me any questions, you will be standing outside of qualified immunity. I will attach my name to your pension, brother. Okay? And that's how powerful you got to keep the camera on people. Listen, don't you find it odd in an age where everybody's got their cell phones that you never really get any cut, clear kind of robberies going on, full robberies going on, people getting shot in the streets? I mean, everybody in the world here damn near has a cell phone. How come when all this shit is shown to us on the internet, it's always from the cops' side? So remember, this goes on top of your visor. Boom, right there. You rubber band it to the top. If you got a mirror, you keep it on the outside of it so you can use your mirror if you'd like, because women like to use their mirror and put their makeup on while they're driving down the streets, which isn't really too wise anyways. But if you have this here, hands in football position, this way you're not reaching for your glove box. You're not in the cop. You don't get shot this way because the cop says that you're reaching for something. I am sharing information with you, and I am going to be taken to the streets here. Okay? I am doing whatever it takes to build my channel, because YouTube is blocking me at every angle because of my teachings of the Bible. Like just yesterday I read Numbers 21, and it said that the Lord made snakes rise up, and they were biting the people of Israel, and the people of Israel were dying, and they cried out and said that they'd sinned against God, and they told that to Moses. So Moses, he molds a serpent on a cross in the desert. Okay, in case you didn't know, that's called an idol. So Moses is fashioning together an idol made of bronze so the people can look at it, so that they will not die. That's kind of fishy stuff right there, man. That's why I'm really starting to lean towards these stories and these prophets and these names that they may not all really truly exist, man, because I don't worship anything or anybody who creates idols, makes idols, carves idols. I don't care what it's made out of, and especially if it's a snake on a frickin' cross in the desert so that the people may look at it and not live. That don't work for me. So remember, folks, you got to keep your license, your registration, and your insurance card. All of that available to them right there. They can look at it, look, they can flip both sides of it. You don't even have to disconnect it. There's all the information right there for the cop. If he needs to flip it over, he can look at it right there and he can see. The same with your insurance. Your insurance is right there. He can see half of the insurance card on one side. He can see the other half on the other side. None of it has to be removed from your thing. There's your registration, and then your identification card, your driver's license. Okay, those three things should always be right there in arm's length of you, man, so that bam, you're right there and you're ready. Also, when you say you don't answer questions, that means that the cop can no longer ask you, where are you coming from? Where are you going? Where have you been? If you've had anything to drink, if I have a gun, if I will test. No searches or seizures. Big. Use the address on my ID, which means that he's going to get the identification, and I can almost guarantee you 100%. Just because they got to feel like they're in control and they're asking a question, because that's the whole thing. They got to ask these questions. They're going to get all your information right there. And then on your information, he's going to ask you when he sees the driver's license, is this the correct address on your driver's license? Straight up, if you've invoked your Fifth Amendment, okay, before he gets all this information, you invoke your Fifth Amendment, you record the interaction that you've invoked your Fifth Amendment, and then he asks you that question after you've invoked your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. He just stepped outside his qualified immunity, which means now you can sue that rotten piece of shit. Not only that, man, you're not going to get killed because you got a camera. These cameras are raid to cops. I'm trying to help you guys out and help you see that odor is not a reason to be pulled over. Let's say you're traveling down the road, not traveling down the road, but a cop extends a stop. He's been there. You've invoked your amendments, and he's all flabbergasted from it because you've challenged his authority. He's on the radio and stuff. He's talking to people. He's been there for 10 minutes. He's asked if you can search the car. In this case, you invoked your Fourth Amendment. You said, no, you can't search my car. And now he's all butthurt because you said you couldn't search the car. And then he's all like, well, I'm going to have a police dog come out here. He can't do that. He can't extend a stop to wait for another law enforcement officer to come to you and extend that stop. An officer has generally 15 to 20 minutes to ticket you. That's what he has. He can't extend that stop past that 20-minute time to sit there and make you wait longer for a dog to show up. Rodriguez versus the United States, that's 2015. Held, cops cannot extend the stop without probable cause or reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime. All right? The cops who ID passengers. Another reason why I was so frustrated in this school that I went to, the DUI school that I went to, because I went to this DUI school. They told me 9 of 15 clients in the class will return to the class. So that's 60% of the people that come into the DUI school, they're telling you are going to return to the school. That means that if you subtract 60% from 100%, that means you're left with 40%. That is an F- failing rate right there. And you're paying for it. Your tax dollars are paying for a program that isn't doing anything for 60% of the clients that are coming in there. I think as a citizen who pays taxes, that if you're running a program and it's below at least the same passing grade in school, 70%, then why should we as taxpayers continue to pay for a program that's spitting fucking 60% of 100% out into the world and they're still having problems? I'll tell you why. Because the counselors are all in there talking about their personal shit and about their drinking and about their stuff. And I'm thinking that if you're going to help somebody prevent them, this information here can prevent you literally from driving through, having a couple beers and then driving through, say, a checkpoint, which is a Nazi checkpoint and shouldn't have anything to do with anything anyways. You can't just up and make a checkpoint, okay? So you drive through the checkpoint. You got your checkpoint here. You know you've been drinking. You invoke your Fifth Amendment law. You always crack your window, okay? Always crack your window. Don't, if you've been drinking, you don't ever talk into the window, to the crack of the window, because this is why the cop's going to tell you, will you please roll down your window? He wants you to roll down the window so he can get a whiff of alcohol in your breath. He wants you to roll down your window, engage with him in conversation so you'll slur your words, so you'll be busted. You got to understand, the police are not here for you. They are here to arrest you, steal your car, impound it, make you pay fees, make you go to court, make you, if they can, get you put on probation, the whole freaking works. And we, once again, rah, America's the greatest government in the world. No, this government came over here and slaughtered indigenous people that live upon this earth before we ever got over here, okay? They put them on reservations and they continued to move the goalposts. They stole their water from them. They built dams on their burial sites, skyscrapers on their burial sites. They've dug up bones and built furniture pieces out of them. How much more do you need to see before you realize the American government is the evil of the world? If not Satan himself, the population of the American people with that flag. You guys worship that flag. You give praise and pledge your allegiance to a flag. I give praise and allegiance to the Supreme Spirit of God, who is one. There is none like him. He is almighty. He is all powerful. He is all seeing. He is the master of all things. He is the one that moves all things in place. There is none beside him. He is the eternal. He is the Supreme Spirit of truth, the living God. There is none like him, none beside him, none strong as him, none, zero. Learn your rights or burn, fry. These people are your enemies. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you be safe. I want you to live. I want you to learn the truth about our government, the American government, the flag that you worship. It's no good. Let's move on. So cops can't extend, okay? They have the right to film. Cops, drivers get out. Pennsylvania versus Mims, 1977. Law, exit for officers' safety. Well, that's kind of strange, huh? Because when officers mostly get out of the car and they see somebody that's getting out, they tell you to stay inside of the car for their safety. So which is it? Is it stay inside of the car for their safety, or is it get out for their safety? And I really don't understand this anyways. Why would anybody have to worry about their safety when you're the fucking dickhead that's carrying a damn gun on your side? You're the one with the taser. You're the one with the backup. You're the one with the thugs. You're the ones that beat the fucking shit out of people. You're the ones that fucking kill people. Pieces of shit. Okay. Held officer safety is legitimate and weighty, and the intrusion into personal liberty at most a mere inconvenience. The facts available to the officer at the moment of the seizure warrant a man of reasonable caution in their belief that the actions taken was appropriate. Actions removing you from the auto. The law is that you must get out when lawfully stopped. The reason why you get out, the spirit of the law, is for officer safety. If by video you can show there is no way a reasonable officer could believe that you are armed and presently dangerous, you could challenge the order as unlawful. Unlawful commands. Like cops getting out and you're walking down the street and they stop you and they say turn around and put your hands behind your back without any reasonable reason. They like putting you in cuffs because they say, this is what they do. Oh, well, we got a call of a suspicious person that's wearing the clothing that you wear. These are dirty fucking parasites. Okay, they'll say anything like it's the law, like they know what they're doing. They're so fucking stupid, they can't even tell you what the Constitution is without getting bent out of fucking shape. Why? Because they don't know the law It's that simple. If they knew the law and somebody asked me, I'm a cop, somebody asked me, hey, bro, what's the First Amendment of the Constitution? Oh, I love that amendment, bro. First Amendment of the Constitution is the right, the freedom of speech, brother. And you just keep doing what you're doing because this keeps us in check, man. You just keep on recording. Oh, yeah, and also it's freedom to gather and freedom of religion and freedom of the press. Yes, brother, I know the law. I follow the law. I enforce the law. I am a law enforcement officer. I am not a feelings officer. I am not a policies enforcer. I am not a rule and regulation and mandate enforcer. I am a law enforcer. Okay, so anyone who stands outside the law is standing outside of qualified immunity. And the sooner that you learn this information, the more powerful you will be. Okay? All right, you can't park on a highway. Techline versus Danforth, 1943. Right to stop is fundamental. Okay, constitutionally, my right to stop is inherent in my right to travel. I have the right to travel and I have the right to stop along the way while I travel, whether it be on a freeway, on an overpass, or on a side road, or anywhere that I choose to stop. I can stop on a freeway. I stopped here to conduct my legitimate business affairs. The reason why I'm bringing this up to you is because there's auditors out there today, and when cops have got people pulled over, the auditor will come up and slow down, get out of his car, walk around and review and record the interaction between the cop and the person. Now, this is what he's talking about. It says right here, I stopped here to conduct my legitimate business. Your legitimate business is with the camera in your hand. We are all investigators. Everyone on the face of this earth is an investigator with their camera in their hand. Everybody on the face of this earth is a news reporter with the camera in their hand. But they have so much power over this, they only allow you to see what they want you to see. Okay? That's the way it works. So, travel is also the right to stop along the way for a purpose. My incident to travel. And that there again is Techline versus Danforth, 1943. Okay, the smell of marijuana, Commonwealth. I told you that one already. How about Get Out Passenger, Arizona versus Johnson, 2009, and Maryland versus Wilson, 1997. Both cases state you have to get out for the officer's safety. The spirit of the law is for the officer's safety. The only way you could challenge this cop is if it was on camera and the order is clearly not the officer for the officer's safety, meaning if it's that most times it's because officers are arrogant and their ego's been placed in check and they can't stand it when somebody fucking challenges their authority and just doesn't turn around, bend over and give them their ass. They can't stand it. Okay, I'm one of them. Cops have to have a reason. This is why you have to have that camera. If you don't have a camera, they're going to beat the fucking shit out of you if you try talking law to them. You know why? Because they may have a body cam, but they're going to cut that thing up in pieces, man. If you go to jail, I guarantee you they're going to do everything they possibly can to hide the truth. I know, I've been through it all. This is one of the reasons why I turned back to God, is once I learned how shitty our government was. Mankind, created on the sixth day. Mankind are beast. The beast are the government. The beast are the United Nations. That's who they are. Okay. You risk abuse and jail by challenging the order. Imagine, I just said that. If you are ordered out, get out, but do not give the cop your ID unless he has probable cause to arrest you. Verbally ID. Pay attention to these rules, these regulations, man. I'm going to open up a PayPal account and I'm going to give these out for anybody who wants them. There's another guy who's selling these things for $9. Okay? I ain't trying to, and he's getting rich off of it. He does a show, he makes $2,000, $3,000, $6,000 selling these things online to people. So, C. I curse cops out. Gotta love this one. Cohen versus California, 1971. I'll use any words I want, protected underneath of the First Amendment of the Constitution, freedom of speech. Holding, by using these words, you get to know and understand the depth of my feelings. Meaning, so when I'm online and I say, fuck you, dirty cops, you get to feel the depth of my feelings. When I say that I want God to drop a hailstone straight on your fucking head and splat it open, you get to feel the depth of my feelings. When I say to you that I may not be able to touch you in this plane of existence, in this life here, after I've died and I stand before the Spirit of truth, the living God, I will hold you accountable for your feelings, and then you will feel the depth of my feelings. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel it in this life here, and you're going to feel it in the life after, even worse, buddy. Believe you. Okay? So, I curse cops. I'll use whatever words it is. Holding, by using these words, again, I say, you get to know and understand the depth of my feelings. Justice Harlan wrote, one man's vulgarity is another man's a lyric. So cops, fuck off. You're crooked, you're corrupted, you're dirty. You're the ones that God is talking about who can make straight what I've made crooked. This is why I don't understand why people would say to you, pray for your enemy. Why would you pray for something that the Supreme Spirit is saying made crooked, and there's nothing you can do to make that man straight? No matter how much you love it, no matter how much you care and nurture and give to something that was created crooked, it's going to destroy you and rip your heart out. Why? Well, because we fell away from God and we started serving the flesh. And the Spirit of God wants us to worship Him in spirit and truth. Okay? Okay, cursing out cops, Houston versus Hill, 1987. God-given right to speak. I just told you that. That falls underneath of the First Amendment. Held, expressive disorder is inevitable in a society that's dedicated to individual freedom and must be protected if that freedom can survive. Mr. Hill interrupted police, and I can interrupt you. You cannot take my liberty of speech because you don't like the words that the copper is saying to you. Okay? So I'm going to get this set up. I don't know when. But I'm going to, if I do sell this for $5, $1 of that is going to go towards drawings, and I'm going to have drawings, little cash drawings for everybody. I'll do that. I've done it before. I did it on my other channel. And then Uncle Sam, if I'm making bank on this, Uncle Sam's going to want his fucking piece of the pie. So I'm going to have to probably pay him $1. And then this here, it cost me, this flyer, this pamphlet to make up, it cost me $427 for 1,000 of them. Okay, and then if I mail this out to you, it's going to be another 50 cents, 55 cents to mail out to you. So if you're interested, just leave a note down in the comment section and say that you're interested. I'll try to get this set up for your protection. This is the most valuable thing that you can do for your protection, especially the Hebrew Israelite. Staple your stuff in there just as you see mine. Always have it in the ready. Protect yourself and pull your camera out. And you might get rich. You might be able to attach your name to a law enforcement officer's pension rather than getting a bullet in the back of your head or tased or anything like that. And if you are tased and you've done all this, you've invoked your Fifth Amendment right, you invoked not to be searched and seized. That means that now they've arrested you, they take you into jail, they're illegally searching you now, they're illegally seizing you, your information. Folks, if you learn the Constitution, you take back your power. If you stop voting for these politicians in this American flag and pledging allegiance to a piece of dirt rather than pledging allegiance to the Supreme Spirit of God, the living God, the Almighty One. There's none like Him. I hope this helps you. This is White Raptor News Ministries.